We close off chapter 13 with learning some more third declension paradigms. And so in previous chapters, you were introduced to the velar class of third declension nouns, and our paradigmatic noun for the velar class is the word sarx, and it's the genitive singular again, where we see the stem for this noun, which is sark. Like sarx, gune, which in Greek means woman or wife, is also a velar stem third declension noun. And when we look at the genitive singular, we learn that the stem is gunaic. And so this is a feminine noun, and therefore I'll use the feminine third declension endings. So the nominative singular form, which is always irregular and sometimes not predictable, something that you would memorize as part of your lexical vocabulary. The nominative singular feminine form is gune. The genitive singular feminine form is gunaikos, and there you see what we would expect as the genitive singular case ending, os. The dative singular is gunaiki, and the accusative singular is gunaika. The nominative plural is gunaikes. The genitive plural is gunaikon. The dative plural is gunai, and remember the case ending is si or sin. Add that to a velar, and like sarxin, the dative plural is gunaiksin, and then the accusative plural is gunaikos. So let's say the paradigm begin with the nominative singular feminine form for gune. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Gune, gunaikos, gunaiki, gunaika, gunaikes, gunaikon, gunaiksin, gunaikos. We've already learned example of the consonantal iota stem, where the consonantal iota either becomes an epsilon or an iota, depending on what case the noun is declined in. And our paradigmatic noun for that was pistis, or the word for faith. And polys is also a feminine third declension consonantal iota noun. And so we would expect polys to have case endings and stem changes that are identical with pistis. So the nominative singular form for this feminine noun is polys, and then its genitive singular form is poleos. The dative singular form is pole. The accusative singular form is pollen. The nominative plural form is polais. The genitive plural form is poleon. The dative plural form is polesin or sin. And the accusative plural form is polis. And this means city. So let's say the entire paradigm for the consonantal iota stem polys. 1, 2, 3, begin with the nominative singular. Polys, poleos, pole, pollen, poleis, poleon, polesin, poleis. And this is the paradigm for the consonant iota noun city. You've already been introduced to one type of liquid stem noun, and that was the proper name Simon or Simone in Greek. And because Simon is a name, and we only see Simon addressed in the New Testament in singular forms. We only listed out the singular forms. But like Simon, we have the word ion, which means age, sometimes eternity. So the God of this age, or eternity, is the translation for ion. And it's going to look exactly like Simone. And in this paradigm, because we do see the plural form in the New Testament, we'll go over the plural forms for the nominative, genitive, dative, and accusative plurals. And so ion is a masculine noun. And so we expect to see the masculine endings. And the nominative singular form, which it is unusual, is ion. And then from the genitive singular form, we see the stem, and then we'll expect the case endings for the masculine forms. So if the nominative singular form is ion, the genitive singular form is ionos, then it's ioni and iona. And then the plural forms would be iones, and there's your nominative plural ending, ionon, which is your genitive plural ending, own, and then ionsi, si or sin, and there is your dative plural ending, and ionos, and that is your accusative plural ending. So let's say the entire paragraph for ion, which means age or eternity. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Ion, ionos, ioni, iona, iones, ionon, ionsi, ionos. Lastly, we're going to learn two new adjectives. The first one that you'll see here on screen is polus, polé, polu, and generally most of the forms are masculine second declension, feminine first declension, or neuter second declension endings, except for the shaded areas. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce the paradigm and the stem for each of these forms in the genitive singular case first. And by the way, polus means many or much. And so the genitive form, notice, is Paul with a double lambda, oo. And then the genitive form for the feminine form is Paul with a double lambda, ace. And the neuter form is Paul with a double lambda, oo. And except where it's shaded, we would expect to see the second declension masculine neuter endings and the first declension feminine endings. So if I were to fill out just the paradigm for the masculine forms without and skipping the shaded areas, the dative singular for this word would be palo as a masculine noun. The nominative plural would be paloi. The genitive plural would be palon. The dative plural would be palois. And the accusative plural would be palus. And the oo, the o, the oi, on, ois, oos are the second declension case endings that we expect in a 2-1-2 adjective like many and much. Except in the nominative singular and accusative singular, what makes polus, pale, palu a different type of 2-1-2 adjective is that in the nominative singular, accusative singular forms, it actually uses a different stem and the third declension endings. It uses different stem and the third declension endings. So the nominative singular is paulus, and the accusative singular is Paul single lambda lun. So the stem is Paul with an upsilon and a single lambda, and Paulu with an upsilon, and then here we added for the masculine form the sigma case ending and the neuter case ending. Now the feminine forms, it uses the first declension endings all the way through. So The nominative singular feminine is polé, and we would expect to see simply first declension case endings. The dative singular is polé with iota subscript. The accusative singular is pauline. Nominative plural, polai. The genitive plural, paulone. The dative plural, polys. And the accusative plural, paulos. So let's say the feminine forms for many and much in Greek, beginning with the nominative singular. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Palé, palés, palé, palane, palai, palone, palais, palos. And for the neuter forms, let's fill out the second declension case endings first. We already did palu for the genitive singular. The dative singular for the neuter forms is paulo, iota subscript. The nominative plural forms is paula with an alpha. Remember that the neuter forms use the alpha for the plural in the nominative, and also paula for the accusative forms also uses alpha. The genitive plural forms is paulone, and the dative plural form is paulois. And for the neuter form, it also uses the palu stem, but because we add nothing to the nominative singular form, the final form for the nominative singular neuter is palu. And for the accusative singular form, we also add palu as and nothing to this stem to form the accusative singular neuter form, and it would be exactly the same as the nominative singular form in the neuter noun. So let's say the whole paradigm, beginning with the nominative form. 1, 2, 3. Palu, palu, palo, palu, pala, palone, palois, pala. And this is these are the forms for the word many, much in Greek: palas, pale, palu.